Hello and welcome to Scitiva Amplify Biopharma Roundtable brought to you by ETH. The biopharma and molecule diagnostics industry plays a pivotal role in the battle against COVID-19. However, long before the pandemic, active research has been providing therapies such as cancer-treating monoclonal antibodies and various recombinant proteins such as insulin for individuals suffering with diabetes. Scitiva, along with a leading business publication, led a global survey to perceive the current biopharma industry and the effects of the pandemic. And all of the lessons for big pharma from COVID-19 pandemic, there is one that is likely to endure. The industry has experienced remarkable success by working in a way that is surprisingly unusual: collaboration. The past 1 year has seen a rapid and symbiotic collaboration among all these individuals. Asia Pacific is a diverse region with a high degree of variance, which was evident during the survey. Respondents from India particularly point to the lack of access in capital and a well-rounded R&D ecosystem where government, academia, and industry and manufacturing come together to accelerate innovation. Now it is up to the industry to continue the momentum gained during the pandemic and to ensure that this vibrant R&D ecosystem lives on. On the episode today, I'm in conversation with a group of industry experts on this very topic. First up, we hear from Vagu Raghavendra Gaud, General Manager Biopharma South Asia at Scitiva.
Keeping in view the pandemic, both the biotech and the vaccines have gained so much popularity across that we all understand the importance of biotech and vaccines these days. The other most important thing that we all need to look up to is, while we have been working towards the vaccines, biosimilars and biotherapeutics, but it is very rare that you have seen a true innovation coming from India. So there is this immense potential that we could look at India for innovation. There is this so much of investments that are coming from the government and also overall an end-to-end solution for in the biotech and biopharma space. That is something that we are looking at. Keeping that in view, and as most of you know that Scitiva plays a very significant role in end-to-end solutions, especially from a drug discovery standpoint, from the product development standpoint, and also in the preclinical and the clinical trials, and then into the commercial field. So Scitiva plays a very significant role in an end-to-end, right from the discovery till the manufacturing, what we call as an eye-to-eye, which is nothing but an innovation from an idea innovation to an injection is what we are talking about. So having such a great legacy and proven track record in terms of providing the latest tools and technologies in the biopharma space, now we look up to, we would want to look at the pharma companies, how we can collaborate, how we can take this journey forward and be the powerhouse for biopharma, biotechnology, and the latest innovation in this space is what we are looking at.
Thank you for that, Mr. Gaud. Now my first question is to you, Dr. Sandeep Majumdar, and it focuses on India's import dependence. The local supplier system is almost non-existent, though there are some green shoots emerging. So what logistical and operational challenges does this pose, especially in moving materials across countries?
Yes, so basically you have seen that there was a rush for getting a vaccine as soon as the COVID So you must understand that vaccine industry in India is also quite advanced. And with respect to development of the vaccine also, we have a reasonably good experience till now. So what has happened is that we have already worked on a lot of other vaccines like earlier, like Ebola and MERS, and a lot of flu vaccines are already there. So based on this experience, basically, I think the platform was already there, present. COVID pandemic actually has given us a lot of, challenges to think basically beyond the boundaries. And what we have understood is that some of the efforts of digitization and OPEX, operational excellence, so all these initiatives were already present in the companies, but suddenly because of the pandemic situation, people have fast-tracked this, and for a good reason. So one of the important things is that digitization always was looked upon as like, it will improve the yield, then it will improve the asset utilization, and things like the costs will come down drastically. all the equipment occupancy and other matrices which are OPEX related, they will also get improved. But the thing is that, during COVID, another multiple advantages that we realize is that of, how we can be audit ready without actually auditor present on the site. So what has happened, digitization not only has improved compliance, it has given it kind of, a feasibility of a desktop audit by leading auditors like EMEA or US FDA or ANVISA, INVIMA, OFEPERES. So that's how this digitization platform will definitely help us. And we are on the path of that journey. And it's a kind of industry 4 requirements that we are targeting. And definitely biopharma industry needs it more than ever.
Thank you for that, Dr. Mazumdar. Now, Dr. J.B. Jacob, India has no dearth of talent, but how do we deepen the breadth and depth of local talent across biologics and biosimilars development as well as manufacturing?
I don't believe the situation is very different whether you are talking about, biologics or small molecule, the traditional small molecule pharmaceutical sector, right? We've always been successful. We have done generics well, but we have not succeeded as much in new product development, even in the small molecule traditional pharmaceutical space. The biologics is a little bit more challenging than small molecule pharma, but the basic challenges remain the same. And for us to take the next step in going to novel biologics, it's again, do Indian companies, do Indian entrepreneurs really have the appetite to look at this in a really long-term basis? Fundamental drug discovery takes a long time, and you're also now competing with companies that have done this for decades, or companies like Pfizer or Merck. They've done it for a very, very long time. So to compete with them in that space is not that easy. The other aspect I feel is also important is, I think, fundamental research that leads to innovative products. Depends a lot on sort of industry academia collaborations. A lot of fundamental research happens in the academic space in good universities and research institutes. And I believe it's important to build up those collaborations that could also lead to some success in the innovative or the novel biologic space.
Very important point made by you, Dr. Jacob. Mr. Shyam Pattabhiraman, much has been said of IP protection and access to capital hamstringing biotech innovation and investment in India. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I think, for example, if we were to take the US as a comparison, many of the R&D related companies, the biotech ventures get funded at all levels, starting from early stage VC funding to crossover funding to eventual IPO financing. And now recently there are also vehicles such as special purpose acquisition companies, SPACs, which get listed. And this creates this entire, financial capital recycling ability. In India, the challenge is that, we do not have regulations in place for companies, R&D companies without revenues to get listed. And because of this lack of liquidity, in the public markets, either through a SPAC or through an IPO, what happens is there is limited venture capital funding for purely R&D oriented companies which don't have a product revenue, from a launched product in the market. And that is definitely a constraint in terms of new biotech ventures starting up in India. Although we have extensive scientific manpower, because of the capital constraint, we are not able to tap the biotech boom.
Thank you for that, Mr. Shah. I'd now like to come to Dr. Himanshu Gadgil. So in 2020, it's been a challenging year to say the least, but we are seeing the green shoots of recovery and opportunities blossom. What are the key focus areas India must focus on if it is to succeed on the global stage?
What has happened because of pandemic, of course, we all are aware of the disruption that it has caused. But specifically for the field of biotech, it has kind of kickstart or propelled the advancements of biotech, right? I think there is a much higher awareness about importance of biotech medicines in general. I mean, we have seen that multiple vaccine candidates have come out in record time, some of which have been, attenuated virus, recombinant protein work is going on. mRNA has been fantastic. And what that has done is it has increased the awareness about the importance of biotech. For a long time, biotech was always like a stepchild almost of other fields that were emerging. And definitely the potential and applications were there, but the general awareness of key stakeholders, policymakers, was not so much focused on to biotech. Now, with this pandemic, I think that focus has come. I think what, for me, the big opportunity is to really encash that, where government, policymaker, industry, academics can all come together and ensure that we are able to manage huge asset that we have as a country, and then use that to propel us forward, in a sense. Some of the new therapies, there's going to be a better acceptance of those. From that perspective, it is a very exciting time to be in the pharma biotech space in general. And hope, and I think that what this is going to, it's going to ignite a huge new class of medicines that come out and are able to address a lot of these diseases that are out there, and that's where lies the opportunity.
On that note, it's time for a very short break. Don't go anywhere. This interesting conversation continues after this break. Welcome back to Saitiba Amplify Biopharma Roundtable, brought to you by ETH. Now, Mr. Chandrakant Kathote, my next question is to you. While we're on the topic of opportunities emerging post-COVID-19, it must be said that China has over 100 biotech parks already, with biotechnology listed as one of the 10 sectors for development under the Make in China 2025 industrial strategy. So India has much work to do on this front. How can we create an ecosystem of growth and innovation that benefits India?
India has shown to the world that we are equally capable to develop and manufacture high quality affordable biosimilars for the patients worldwide. Now this is the time to institutionalize this knowledge which we have gained on the development and manufacturing front, such that we can actually create and retain the talent which we have in our country now. Now, we all know that the development and manufacturing of biosimilars is a very capital-intensive activity, and this is where I think we will require some support from the government to support these initiatives. For example, some of the countries, they have created hundreds of biotech parks. So these biotech parks are nothing but the ready infrastructure to start your operations anytime. And we would also need to create some of these infrastructures in our country. Secondly, it can also, government can also help us to give some tax breaks and subsidies, which would contain our operating costs. Once all this is done, I think this would bring in a lot of opportunities for and also incentivize the Indians who are staying outside our country, who are working with big biotech and pharma companies, to come back to India and support all this growth initiative which we have in our country now. I think lastly, it will also make a lot of sense to partner with some of the top big pharma and biotech companies. These companies not only support us financially, but also they bring in a lot of knowledge on the table, which could actually fast track some of these development activities. So overall, it becomes a one win-win situation for both. So this is what is my view on this.
Yes, that's a very important point you made there, Mr. Chandrakant. I'll move on to Mr. Ramkrishna Manoj. So history has shown how crisis can bring tremendous opportunities to recognize new models of businesses that can play game-changing roles. How can India's existing advantages in pharmaceuticals be leveraged, and what are the notable opportunities from your perspective?
Indian companies have invested a lot of technology and infrastructure. These technology capacities helped us to create a lot of global opportunities. Now, when we are talking about technologies, to take few examples, there is the single-use technology. There are platform processes. So various such technologies helps in creating manufacturing efficiencies, which is proven. But these standardized technologies also helps in creating standard globalized network capacity. Such capacities, standard globalized network capacities actually help in such situations. Not only that, they help in creating easy transfer of technology, better global collaborations. All these things are become quite easy with such kind of capacity building. That such kind of capacities would be the ideal way to de-risk the business. Bespoke supply chain capacity apparently might look in the first instance to be one way of de-risking the business, but that actually puts a whole lot of risk on the system. But globalized standard capacities actually de-risk the business in a much easier manner. The second point I want to talk about was on innovation. So innovation is a key requirement and an area where India can make a huge leapfrog. When we're talking about innovation, there are new business models that are evolving, and we are already seeing in the West some of these models where academia and industry are coming together, evolving in a much better way. Now, Cytiva's global team is helping to accelerate the work of researchers and developers, manufacturers in diagnostics and vaccine areas, different areas, to bring access to much needed solutions across the world and in India. The opportunity which India have in this new innovation model could be, like, say, for example, if we can bring the manufacturing, CDMO, therapies, academia and researchers and clinics together into one ecosystem, maybe that can trigger much more innovation in India.
Yes, thank you for your viewpoint on that, Mr. Manoj. I'll come to Dr. Sanjay Singh next. So how has Indian biopharma played its part in driving positive social and economic change in India?
Biopharmaceutical industry in India has picked up very well as compared to other places in the world, because very early in the country, Department of Biotechnology was established for basically training the people, setting the rules, regulation, and creating the environment for biotechnology. And this is one of the unique examples in the world that where a Department of Biotechnology has been created by government. So we had the skilled people, we had the conducive environment, and then the biopharmaceutical industry started. Because now the treatment profile is changing from pharmaceutical to biopharmaceutical, because biopharmaceuticals have some advantage in terms of the treatment profile. Slowly, our biopharmaceutical industry is starving for the moving out of the country in the emerging market, in the regulated market. So this is one of the major contributions, just like we make the third generation thrombolytic. Then the second way is the cost factor was there. So we have brought a lot of innovation, and we are competing for the innovation on the biomanufacturing side. So these are the second advantage. The third, now we have also starting a new zone in the area of innovation. So not only Genova, many others are moving into this area. So we'll hope to see in a couple of years that new product, new molecules are also coming from the industry.
Thank you for that, Dr. Singh. Francis, my last question falls to you. India is home to some of the most entrepreneurial and nimble minds anywhere on the planet. How can we continue to trigger the country's startup machinery and scale up growth?
Thank you for the question. The indigenous research and development of impact-driven innovation is key to the march towards a Atmanirbhar Bharat. The scientific community is at the peak of innovation, with numerous startups entering the market, demanding more production facilities, more infrastructure. As the India industry is growing at rapid pace, we need to equip ourselves for the rising demand. In India, Cytiva has 100 plus local R&D experts in our team. They collaborate with bioprocess experts and are at the helm, along with numerous Indian bioprocess companies, expediting innovation while moderating costs and time through automation technologies. They contribute to not only in India for India, but also in India for the world. India's progress will undoubtedly contribute to global progress, and Cytiva is continuously striving to develop the right tools and technologies to ensure efficient manufacturing of novel therapeutics.
Well, a big thank you to all the speakers, but that's all the time that we have today on Cytiva Amplify Biopharma Roundtable, brought to you by ETH, where you heard from some sector experts on the developments in the biopharma sector and why this industry is all set to play a pivotal role in the future. Thank you so much for watching.